Hey guys, welcome back. Today a quick video about how to set the compound angle on your lathe. We're going to go ahead and build this tool right here, or rather it's already built. I'm just going to show you what it does and how it works so you can build your own. Let's get into it. I hope you can see it. So on my compound, the precision is about 1 degree. And in order to make a collet, especially such a short one, like these guys here, the angle has to be quite perfect. So we need to cut under this collet a angle of 9.5 degrees and not 9.45, not 9.48. We need 9.5. Okay, so the first thing you have to do is make sure that this edge of your tool holder or your tool, whatever, the tool itself, is exactly parallel with the face of the chuck. The way I did that, I loosened up my tool post here and then drove this up to the chuck and just pushed it into it until it got perfectly parallel with it, like that. Second step is you take your little tool, and basically what's important on the tool is that the shaft here that's going into the chuck is perpendicular with this bar here, and that these two holes that you clamp these two shafts into are perfectly parallel with this shaft. Okay, so then what you got to do, pop this guy into your chuck here, take a multimeter, not a multimeter, take a caliper and measure the distance between the 2 points when they're sticking out of the tool the same amount. So we're okay, so now they're the same stick out of the tool. This is a little bit tough. And then we need to measure it. So I already know the distance, but basically this is the measurement you have to make between the two tips. Okay, just like that. Hope you can see that. Yeah. So then from that measurement, what you get is basically a triangle. Okay, so you know that distance right there is what you just measured. So we know, what was it, 58.48. That was this distance between the two tips of the shafts sticking out of the tool here. This is the angle that you're going to set your compound to. Call that theta. Here we know we have 90 degrees. Now what you have to do is plug that into a calculator, solver, calculator, plug that into an angle calculator or calculate it yourself and solve for this side here. So here, have a look. This is some triangle calculator that I found on the internet. Side A is the distance that we measured between the 2 points of the shafts on the tool. Then the angle here is the target angle, what we want to get, the 9.5. We know that this angle C is 90. And what it will give you is this side B. And the side B is going to be the offset between the two tips. Okay, so the first measurement we have to make is this one right here. And that's going to be our reference 0. So 32.52. That means we have to subtract 9.954 from 32.52, which is, roughly 22.57. So then what you want to do is set your caliper to 22.57 and set this guy to your 22.57. Right. So now you want to drive, make sure first that both will touch. So adjust the cross slides so that both are touching. Of course, when you build this, you're going to want to build them such that they'll touch your tool holder. So that's going to be different for everybody. And then basically with the carriage wheel, go ahead and drive the carriage into the 2 points. And at the same time, you can kind of wiggle the compound back and forth like this until it perfectly touches both of them. Okay? Then go ahead and tighten it down. And there you go. All right, and then just some details about the tool itself. So like I said, this is just a solid piece of steel. I went ahead and drilled 2 holes, cut 2 slits in the sides, tapped a little hole at the end of either end so that we can get a clamp. This is probably a little bit too big, but it works anyways. You get a nice clamp. And the way I made sure that this was all straight, so I drilled these 2 holes first before I did anything on the drill press, and I clamped it in the vise so it was all nice and square. So these are drilled nice and square through it this way. Then I turned this bar right here, clamped that into the chuck of the lathe, and then with the live center, I made a little punch here with a punch tool right in the center of the bar. And then with the live center, I pressed this piece up into that when it was chucked up and welded it directly on the lathe. So I know that this is perfectly square because I faced the ends of this bar here. All right, now just to prove to you guys that I'm not full of shit and that this did actually work, here's our collet. Same one. Pop it into the router there. Okay, so there's the height gauge directly above the bearing. Now we can just rotate this. Doesn't change. So it's perfectly straight. Can even lower this a hair more. So it just catches. And the tool is fixed tight. So the taper's nice. Everything worked. There you go.